Hello again. Today we're going to tie this Chartreuse and white baitfish. This is a great little pattern. Use it for the bass in the estuaries and the open beaches near me, and I use it for perch as well actually, but when I do use it for perch I use a different hook. This is a stainless hook for fishing in the sea. It uses one of these little fish masks by Fish Gull. This is a 6mm one, and it's got a great little action to this fly. It's quite bulky in the middle, and with the fairly stiff feathers, it gives quite a cool, almost a jerkbait action in the water. So let's take this one out of the vise and we'll pop in a size 1/0 O'Shaughnessy style stainless steel hook. Just clip that up in the vise. Thread, fire orange uni thread in 6/0, and I'm just going to add some lead to the shank of the hook. Just a bit. This helps to get it down. I tie these with, and I tie these without the lead. Obviously the slightly heavier ones, if I've got slightly deeper water, you know, fish it on a sink-in or an intermediate line and you can just get that fly there a little bit deeper. So that's that, and then I just go over the top with some varnish. Good old Rimmel 60 seconds. Here we go. And then we'll start the thread and we just tie in the lead. You haven't got to be too neat here. Start the thread about an eye length from the actual eye. Jump the thread over the back of the lead once you get to it. And then just tie that lead in. And I kind of just do crisscross wraps over the top of it. And there we go. And I'm going to end with my thread just before the bend of the hook, you know, as it goes round. Now we're going to tie in some craft fur. So I've just got some craft fur here. This actually isn't the best craft fur, but it is actually it's shorter than like Hairline's Extra Select craft fur, but it's absolutely fine for these little saltwater patterns. Because I don't need it to be that long. So I've just snipped a load from the carpet, and now I'm going to hold the tips and pull all the short bits out, and I'm just going to do that over the bin. It is a synthetic material, but it does actually have like an underfur to it. And then we're going to take that, and the white I want to be about a hook shank and a half in length, and we're just going to catch that on 1, 2, a couple of loose turns, and then I push down on it to spread it around that hook shank, and then I'm just going to trim this sort of full length of the body ish. Oh, and I'll neaten that up. Sometimes craft fur can be like everywhere. It's not great if you're an itchy person. So, whoops, I didn't mean to move that. Just come up, tie that, whoops, tie that all in. You haven't got to be too neat at this stage. Just make sure it's tied in well. Just going to take these bits off because that didn't look too great. There we go. And now we're going to come in with some Chartreuse craft fur. Do exactly the same again. Just come in with a needle. So I can show you this. Come in with a needle or a long scissor and just fold some of the hair back. Enough that you need. And then just pass your fingers through it. I don't know if you can see this or not, but just like a hairdresser does. and then just snip it off. I could do with a long scissor here, but my other ones, to be honest with you, I don't know what I've done with them, but I've got some more on the way, so, but that'll do. We can survive on shorter scissors. Right, now the Chartreuse the Chartreuse craft fur, we want just a smidgen longer than the white one. We'll just trim that off. And we're going to pop that on. It's a little bit too much actually. It's going to take some away. We're going to pop that on. And this time we're going to keep this on the top. We're going to run this down, trying to keep it, the waist ends on the top, and just tie that in. Now I know it doesn't look nice at the moment, but don't worry about it too much. There we go. There's your tail. It's going to come in and eat some of that off. Right, now we're going to come down, and now we're going to tie in some flash, and the flash we're going to tie in is polar flash. So we're going to get my polar flash. Oh, where is it? There it is. Here we go, it's just this stuff. Don't need a lot. Don't need a lot at all. We're just going to take some off the card, like that. We're going to make sure the ends are nicely tapered, so they're not dead straight. There we go. I'm going to place that on the top. Take the thread over, catch it with a couple of turns, maybe 4. Thread the rest back and try and spread it around the top of the hook, so it's almost covering up all that Chartreuse craft fur. Now, length just literally a little bit longer than the tail. You can always trim this. There we go. Happy with that. Come here. There we go. Right. Whoops. Why do I always do that when I'm doing a video? I'm really am a ham-fisted oaf. Don't worry, because if you've tied everything in properly, it's not going to matter. Right, tie that in. There we go. Okay, now we're back to normal again. Like I said before, I could probably start these videos again when I make silly mistakes like that, but hey ho, such is life. I never let much bother me in this life. There's no point. Just make sure all this is tied in nicely. I know it all looks fairly ugly at the moment, but it will all come good, don't worry about it. So now I need to tie in some polar chenille. And we have some polar chenille here. We're just going to catch that on. Take it back. Make sure it's tied in nice. And now we're going to tie in some cactus chenille. Get that tied in. Just bare some of the core of the cactus chenille. Catch it on. And there we go. And then we're going to run that up to full length of the body. So, cactus chenille first. Let's take this up. Mind your tail, a little bit of flash wanting to get caught up in that then, so we're just going to make him behave himself. Come around, and with this, I just sweep it back upon every turn, and then pull tight after every third turn. It does stretch this stuff, and you can really tighten down. If everything is tied properly and tight, then your fly will last a lot longer. There we go. Come up, catch it with a thread. Just gonna make sure I've got plenty of wax on the thread here. There we go, come around. Just lock that off. Now we're gonna trim. There we go. Oh, I dropped it on the floor, as per usual. So we get everything back. Now come round with the polar chenille. Again, mind your tail. Oops, come here. Mind your tail. And this I almost rib up the fly, sort of palmer it up the fly, to make sure everything is poking out, lovely, sweeping all the fibres where you want them to be swept. This stuff really glows in the water, this polar chenille. It is really nice. And then when we get to the top, we're going to do a couple of extra turns. There we go. Catch that off. Yes. Oh, I've moved it again. Right. There we go. Now, that's all lovely. Right. Now, what am I doing? Bucktail, bucktail, bucktail. So, I'm going to put a bit of bucktail on. This is just white. It's actually fluoro white. It's a really nice colour, actually. Really glows again in the water. I'm going to pop this. You want it to be going to about halfway back into the tail. I'm going to keep that on the bottom. A few wraps. Pull tight, run the thread down to the eye, and then come back. There we go, make sure it's where you want it, which it is. And now we're going to tie in some Chartreuse bucktail, and you want a little bit more Chartreuse bucktail than your white. So again, we're going to come in, oh, come here, about halfway into the tail, trim, and there we go, catch that on the top, and I'm holding it on the top, I don't want it to spread much. There we go, and then get your finger to put it where you want it afterwards. And there we go, and that's that. There we are. Now, we're going to put some of this laser dubbing on. So I've just taken some out of the packet, and I'm just pulling it and restacking it to align the fibres. Okay, and pull it, restack it, pull it, restack it. Once they're all aligned, I'm going to sit it right on the top, come in with a couple of turns, turn the fly over, take some red, and this is just laser dubbing again, and I'm just going to pull it and restack it. Let's move this out of the way so you can see. Pull it, restack it, pull it, restack it, pull it and restack it. Just make sure you got the right amount. Come under, pop it on the bottom, come through, a few turns, and then come up, sweep it all back, come in with the thread, just make sure that's where you want it, which it is. Whoops, come on, something's behaving. There we go, and I'm just going to create a little bit of a dam in front. And there we go. Just going to leave my thread up by the eye, and I'm going to give this a bit of a brush. Just come in with my toothbrush and give it a good old brush. Just brush everything back exactly how you want it. Sometimes it's easier to do this when you finish the fly. But now we're going to tie in a couple of feathers. This is a silver whiting, it's silver badger whiting cape. They call this the Magnum cape. We're going to take a couple of feathers, a couple of fairly long feathers. I'm going to just pick them off. Oh, pardon me. Right. And now we want these to be a smidgen longer than the tail. So measure it up. I'm going to pull all the fluffiness away. And I'm going to sit it on my desk. I'm going to take the other one and pull all the fluffiness away again. But I'm going to measure it up with the other one. So he's about there. Alright. Let's make sure we got them perfect. Right. Now I'm going to sit this on. And then we're going to try and keep it level. So I'm going to come round a couple of loose turns, and these will fight you like it's doing. Sometimes if it does that, I'll make sure I've got wax on my thread. I'll flatten the stem. Oh, I'm going to fluff out the way. I'll flatten the stem here with my nail. So I'll squish it basically flat just to help try and get that feather to lay right. So I'm going to sit it on top. I'm going to come around with a couple of turns. And there we go. Happy with that. I'm going to come in, trim, make sure there's a good bit of wax on the thread. Now we can tighten up. And now for the feather on my side. Exactly the same. See, that one behaved itself. There we go. And then just have a look at everything. Have a look how everything is sitting. That's all right. I'm going to sweep everything back. And we're going to tidy this area up now because I have the fish mask to put on. So let's tidy all this up. There we go. Let's have a look at everything now. Is it all sitting? That's all right. That's all right. Right. Now I've already glued some eyes and varnished them on one of these skulls, fish masks. And I'm just going to, before I cut the thread off and everything, I'm just going to push it on. Whoopsie daisy. I'm just going to push it on and just see how it sits. There you go. I'm happy with that. So, now, I can come in and whip finish. Trim the thread. Now there's no need to varnish because I'm going to put some super glue on here to accept the fish mask. Not a lot, because you don't need a lot, but I'm just going to put a little bit on. That'll do. If you put too much glue on, you start making things look a terrible mess. I'm just going to come through. Just going to make sure that glue's around everything. I keep moving this. I tried a new thing with the vise and it's clearly not working. So I've put the vise on a kind of mat, but I actually thought it would be grippier, but actually it's made it worse. It's made it more slippery. Anyway, push the mask on and we just push it into the glue like that. Don't take long, it's 60-second glue. And then we're going to come in and I'm going to put a little bit of varnish on the top of these threads because I need to build a little bit of a dam with the thread so the mask can never slip off the front. So we're just going to wrap my thread over that. I'm going to hold everything, just support the hook, come round, and we just build a thread dam. Just reinforce any wax, just to stop it from slipping. And there we have it. Can't really pull off the front now. Let's come back to there. We're gonna squeaky bobbin. We're gonna whip finish. We're gonna come in with my scissors. And there we have it. What we're gonna do is just come round with some varnish. Don't worry if you get any on the actual fish mask, because I'm going to go over those eyes with my varnish. It just really makes them shine. And there we have it. That is my simple little bait fish. Yeah, they do really appreciate a little bit of water, if you know what I mean by that. They look better when they've been fished. Oh, that didn't work, did it? They look better when they've been fished. Oh, that's not working, is it? But you can give it a brush. I don't tend to do that till the glue's fairly dry, because I am a ham-fisted oaf and I will knock it. But just brush everything out. Brush everything out and see how everything's looking. And there we have it. That is my, I just call it my chartreuse and white bait fish. Give this one a go. It's not too difficult to tie. I know I make everything look difficult, but whoops. You've got to watch that. You've got to watch any fluff getting into the varnish, because it makes the eyes look terrible. Just come over there with a bit more varnish. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.